right, we're back and we need to talk. We need to talk because I have had many messages from mainly women, but some men as well, talking about how they felt like it was too late for them to dance, that they're late 30s or 40s, and they just thought that their opportunity to dance was gone. And since seeing me dance, now they feel like, well, maybe it's a possibility. And absolutely it is a possibility. Why are we ruling things out when we're in our late 30s and early 40s? Like, that is crazy. There's every chance that we could live till we're 70, 80, 90, 100. We potentially have more life left to live still than what we've done. Like, just think about that for a minute. If we're already crossing things off the list and counting things out and saying it's not possible, when we have a whole nother life to go, what are the next 40, 50 years going to look like? Like, that's scary. That's a scary thought to me, to think that I might be already thinking, nah, when there's so much to go. By the time I'm 46, right? So by the time a lot of us are in our 40s, we've had lots of evolutions of ourselves. And if you haven't had many evolutions of yourself, maybe they are still to come. I have had quite a few. I've tried different things out. I've experimented with things to get where I am today. Let me give you like a little quick overview of my life so far. I think I had a fairly normal kind of childhood upbringing. I had, my parents stayed together their whole lives. Grew up in the same house up until I left home. So very stable childhood. Throughout primary school, I started to have, I suppose, some inclination that I could be interested in girls. But then by high school, I kind of put that idea out of my head. Finished high school, then went off to uni, and I met my future husband and we got married. So then I did the married life thing. Then I got pregnant with my son, and then we moved down to the beach. So we did the sea change. And I guess at that sort of point in your life, you're like, well, I've had the career, I've had the fun, now it's time to settle down. And I feel like a lot of the times that feels like where the brain sort of stops. Okay, I'm having children now. Okay, now I'm a mum. And that's it. And sometimes the ambition and the drive can sometimes stop there, and we don't think further ahead because we're consumed with children, which is fair enough because kids take up a huge amount of time and energy. But then I think we lose ourselves, which I think a lot of women do, and I think it's very normal to get lost in your children. But then there comes a point where you switch back on again, and you're like, well, now it's about me. And it didn't take me too long to want to go back to work. Then, without going into too many details, so things happened, and I revisited the whole "do I like women, am I gay" thing, and through many years of a very difficult relationship, very, very difficult, let's just say that, and lots of mental torture and mental anguish, I finally did come to the realization that yes, I wanted to be with a woman. So that was a whole nother evolution that was incredibly difficult, particularly being married and having a son. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes through your mind when you have to make that decision. And I suppose it wasn't a decision as such. I suppose once you feel like you've found yourself, there's no going back, pretty much. Once you have that feeling that, gosh, it makes me emotional. It makes me emotional talking about it. Once you've had that connection with yourself and you feel like you've found your real self, your true self, you can't ignore that. You just can't ignore that. And I went through a lot of mental torture trying to come to terms with that, like trying to come to terms with the fact that I would have to be, a single parent. I would have to raise, I would have to miss out basically on half my son's, childhood while he was with his dad. I would have to do that because if to not do that meant staying together as a family, which is what I always envisaged and what I ideally wanted for my son. But I knew that to do that, I would have to ignore, a big part of myself, and I couldn't do that. Just couldn't do that. So, it did have its sacrifices for sure, and they were very hard to deal with at the time, and they can still upset me if I think about it too much. But if I hadn't made that tough decision, I wouldn't be here today. You know, I would have been a different person. I would have been a closeted person. I would have been an unhappy person. So that was another evolution. Then I met my beautiful partner now, Kylie, and it was pretty much love at first sight, to be honest. She walked into this cafe, we saw each other, and it was just like, you know, it was that kind of feeling. And we just sat and we just like eyeballed each other and just had this most intense, interesting conversation for ages. And that's probably the first time, only time I've really had that, you know, that love at first sight feeling. So that then started another evolution of me with, you know, a female, well, besides a disastrous relationship, me with in a healthy female relationship, because I had lots of stereotypes going on in my brain about what a gay couple looks like, because I hadn't had, you know, much exposure to it growing up. So I had the typical, stereotypical kind of things. Who does the man stuff? Who does the woman stuff? You know, so I had to really grow and evolve in that way as well. And luckily for me, society was growing and evolving at the same time. So I was able to feel like it was acceptable again, because when I was, you know, in my around like early 20s, when I visited the idea at that particular stage of my life, it just didn't feel like it was okay. Like I felt like I would be shunned by my parents, which I never was. So that was all my own thinking. And, you know, back then I hadn't had my son, so I wanted to have kids. And the idea of having kids with a woman back then was just like, well, that's impossible. So yeah, the relationship with Kylie has really, it's a healthy, beautiful relationship, just like a man and woman can be, and two men, you know, two women, exactly the same. Just, it's really beautiful. Prior to that, I'd started working for myself. So that was another evolution. Now a business owner, entrepreneur, which I loved. Like I love the chase. I love the chase of finding the work. You know, can I make enough money this month? Which can also be very, very stressful. Don't get me wrong, very stressful, but hugely rewarding as well, to be solely responsible for making your own living and having to hustle and find the jobs and work the late hours. Like I wouldn't give it up. And now has come this dancing evolution completely out of the blue. I would never have thought that this is what I would be doing. About 5 years ago, I suppose, is when my social media brain clicked and I was like, oh, this could be fun. I want to try this. And I tried to make it work for my business, but I never really got a whole lot of traction. I felt like I was doing some good stuff, but I just didn't really get anywhere with it or really, you know, have much of an impact. And then I just started the dancing thing as a side hobby, a way to start moving more regularly. I was watching my mum getting older and I could see the struggles that she was having with mobility. And I just thought now is the time to be, you know, more committed to my daily movement, to find something that I love. And Instagram delivered with remixes and awesome dancers from all over the world for me to dance with. And it's been the best thing ever. And who knows where it's going to go, because I'm only 46. We're still young. We're still young in our 40s, you know? It's all in the mind. And there's still so many years to go. So who knows what is in the future? So I don't want anyone out there, I don't want to hear, particularly from someone in their 30s, that it's too late. It is never too late. It is never too late to do something that makes you feel good and makes you feel amazing and joyful. And you just don't know where it could go. Like I didn't start the channel thinking that it was going to get to where it is. Like, I didn't think that anyone would be interested in what I had to say. I didn't think anyone would want to watch a middle-aged woman dancing. Like, I did not think it was going to be anything special, anything interesting. Nah. I thought if I remix with these amazing hot dancers, that maybe at least people might might want to watch them. So you just don't know the impact that you could have just following your heart and doing something that you love and just being open to possibilities. You know, never shut something out of your mind. Like I have other people in my life who are a little bit more like, oh, it's not, you know, no, that's not going to happen. Like, be realistic. And I don't like that. I don't want to be realistic. I want to think that anything is possible, because that is such a more exciting and more fun way to live. Like if we're just walking around being like super, you know, realistic, which and that's another word I think for kind of boring. How are we welcoming in the magic, like the magic of life? Like it's everywhere, but it has to start here. Like if your thinking is narrow or closed down or negative, you're not going to welcome in the magic that the universe has to offer, you know, and it's out there. It's out there. You just have to be open to it. And you have to believe that things can happen, that interesting things, miracles can happen. You know, great, exciting things happen to people every day. So why can't that happen for you? Why can't you be the next person that something amazing and miraculous happens? But it's not just going to fall in your lap. That's the thing. People sort of, I think sometimes think that it's just going to fall in their lap and there's success. It's going to be right there for them. And no, it actually takes a lot of work. Like it takes a lot of work. That's why you have to find something that you're passionate about. And when I say find, I don't even mean go searching for it, because I think the searching is what can tire a lot of people out and make people feel like it's a bit hopeless. So it's not even a search. It's just an openness. It's just an openness to look and to try things and to experiment and to be spontaneous. You know, you don't want to be in this same spot, stuck in the same spot now that you were 10 years ago and that you're going to be in the next 10 years. We want change. We want to grow. We want to evolve. You don't want to stay the same person. I mean, if you love that, I don't want to criticize. But I feel like as people, we're meant to change and evolve. We're not meant to be the same person that we were 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. For one thing, I mean, that's boring. Are you not bored? This is just a little reminder to try something new. If dancing feels interesting to you, just give it a go. Like you don't know where it could lead. You know, it could lead to you feeling better within your body, which I have no doubt that it will. And then that would give you more confidence. And then maybe with that little bit more confidence, you then feel more inclined to, I don't know, start the conversation with that person that you think's interesting. Or maybe in your job, you might speak up and say some ideas that you've got. Or you might then go and take a class, or you just don't know. And then that could lead to something else, and that could lead to something else, and on. Until in 12 months' time, boom, you're over here, and you look back and you're like, shit, I really did that. Because I would not have thought 12 months ago. So 12 months ago today, what are we? We're in March. So we're coming up to a year of when I had my first viral dance reel. So I started the whole dancing thing November the year before. So November 2023 was when I started my account. And then it was in the late March, when Abracadabra came out. Do you remember that one? With the German guys. And I've been doing dance reels just with no words on them. And then Abracadabra came out, and I did it with Jasmine and James. I think it's Jasmine and James. And on their reel, they had some text that said, like, guess who speaks German? So I thought, well, I'll put something on my reel as well. And I talked about dancing in high heels for the first time. And that reel did really well. And it went viral. Well, I call it viral. I had a few million views, so I think that's viral. And that is what sort of twigged in my mind that it wasn't just the dancing. It was the words. It was what I was sharing. It was actually my thoughts that people were also interested in. So from then on, I started adding text to all of my reels. There was a few, a bit of a lull, and then the Pump It Up challenge came out, and that one took off. And then from there, it's just gone crazy. Like on one day, I had 11,000 new follows in one day. Now, if I had have heard that 12 months ago, I would have called bullshit. I would have said, there's no way. There is no way that's possible. I swear to God, brownies swear. What was it? Brownies, that's right. Was it that? What was that? Who was a brownie? I think it was that. that I had 11,000 in one day. And recently on Facebook, I got even more. I think I got 12,000 in one day. So these are crazy, crazy numbers. So you just don't know. You just don't know what could happen. So I want to encourage you just to be open and be aware and try things, and never think it's too late. It's never too late. I mean, okay, I guess sometimes it's too late. And, if there are issues going on, health issues, those sort of things can be a real dampener, and I do understand that. But for a lot of you, it's not too late to try new things, to learn new things. We're never too old to learn, that's for sure. No matter what's going on, we always have our mind, and we can always learn things. Okay, so make a commitment to try something new. If you've been thinking about dancing, just do it, for goodness sake. I am talking to myself here as well. I am putting out some sort of program soon. I've kind of started, but it's a bit of a jumble in my brain. But I want to see where I can take this. You know, I want to be confident and say that I want to earn some money from this. I do want to, because it takes up a good portion of my time. And if I could give it more time and more love, I would. But there are bills to pay. There's a mortgage. There's people to feed. So I can't just dance all day unless I can make some money. And I want to be able to connect with you guys more. So to do that, there needs to be an exchange of time for money and effort for money. So I'm going to put together some tutorials. They're going to be available on my website. I want to create a community on Facebook through a Facebook group where we can chat and we can share videos, and you can show me your dancing, and it's going to be great. And I hope that you'll be there. I hope that you'll join me, because who knows what it might spark for you. It could be the start of something amazing for you as well. Who knows? So that's really all I wanted to say today. This has now inspired me to go and dance, because I haven't danced yet today. So I'm going to go and do that right now, and hopefully inspires you to dance as well. All right. That's enough waffling. Thanks, guys.